Hi, welcome to my podcast, The Happy Hacker with Ambition. Today is Thursday, and you will be able to tell from my voice, which comes and goes, that I've had some kind of coldy, chesty yuck, which I must have had before I went down to Brighton for work, without realising it. But obviously, no temperature, no loss of smell, none of the old COVID stuff, but just feeling pretty yuck this week. So it's not been a fabulous week, but it has been quite an interesting week for me. So Michelle looked after our horses for us at the weekend, and Laura went off to Stewart for the horse boarding, and that was quite eventful for her. I got a text from her when I was away saying, "Have you got Jessie's, that's our farrier's number?" And I went, "Oh gosh, yes," because she hadn't got it on the phone. And one of the elite horses had pulled a shoe, and I think Jessie thought it was one of ours, but obviously he was out doing other stuff, so he wasn't able to get to them. Also, one of the boarders came off, and at the speeds that those horses are going with them on the borders behind them, if you come off, it's a bit like a catapult. And he's broken, he's an HGV driver, especially when we really, really need them, and he's broken his shoulder, collarbone even. So that sounds really yucky. So that was eventful, and obviously, as I said, when I rode and I put a sneaky ride in before I went off to work, Laura had said to me, and I kept saying it, didn't I? Laura said, "Don't ride." Anyway, I did ride, and as you know, came back without a shoe, because she definitely had two on. I don't think anybody believes me when I said that when I set off, we definitely had two shoes on, because we did definitely have two shoes on, because I'd picked her feet out, I'd made them all pretty, and I'd put her overreach boots on, but we came back sans le shoe, so that wasn't very good. Anyway, during the week I haven't really done very much, because obviously I haven't felt very well, and I was hoping that I would be okay to get on. Anyway, we did get on. I went out for a hack with Laura, and Eek demonstrated why she's called Eek. We were hacking along, minding our own business in the woods, and the next thing I knew, she'd done a 180 turn, mid-air turn, just missing Spike's bottom, luckily not taking him out and keeping her shoes on. And that was that. So that was fun. And then we went for a canter. We've got a couple of stubble fields still that we were allowed to get on, that they haven't done anything yet. So we went round the stubble fields, which was really lovely. And I kept thinking, really do need to make sure she keeps her shoes on. She did keep her shoes on, so that's quite good. And I've checked again. I sort of look at her every morning when I give her 3 treats in a bowl to check that she's got her shoes on. So she's got her shoes on again, and I'm hopefully taking her out. The weather forecast is appalling, and it's raining now, so we'll just wait and see as I poo pick. And also the other thing that I definitely need is when I'm hacking out in company on Eek. On her own she's fine, but in company she's just, she needs a stronger bit, because she's just ignoring me, and it's not fun. You know, your pony should stop as you sit up after you're cantering flat out. And I was running out of field, much to Laura and Spike's amusement. And we don't go round corners at high speed very well. So that wasn't very good. But it was good fun. I really, really, really enjoyed it. But it was quite funny. So Laura's lending me, as usual, I don't know, Laura's like my tack room, endless supply of stuff. So she's lending me a Happy Mouse gag, which is lovely and soft, very friendly, but as I always keep saying, a bit's only as strong as the pair of hands behind it, and any bit is strong. And really, quite frankly, it's no fun pulling on, you know, you can have a snaffle in and you think that's soft, but quite frankly, if your hands are hard, a snaffle is quite an evil little thing. So I've got French Link, and it's a beautiful little bit, and she's in it most of the time. I always obviously do all the dressage and stuff, and when I'm hacking alone, it's in it. But I'm going to try again. It's a French Link, and it's a Happy Mouse, so it'll be nice and soft, and but it'll just give me that little extra breaks that I need when I'm out in company. And she does like to lean on your hands, does our Iki. Anyway, as you all know, I've had some issues with Indy, but what I have been doing is lunging her every day, making her do a little bit of work, keeping her going. She's out, I'm actually in her pen now, I'm just poo picking, as you can hear. And so I'd lunged her, and a lot of that had been that Laura had said to me about not getting on without her being there, purely as a backup, because obviously last time I got on her I fell off. So we parted company. And also then when I rode out with her, if you remember, she did that little bucking bronco bit. Anyway, so I had a little lesson in the school, and I kind of talked myself into being a bit more sensible, I think. Trying to lower the hands, doing all that razzmatazz, not worrying, because obviously Indy's a pony, like all horses, but Indy especially. If you're at all worried, she then gets worried, and then she gets like, well, I'm like, oh, she's worried. I don't really want her anywhere near me, because I only want strong people near me. And that is really because I personally think it's because she's not a strong character herself. I mean, I know she's angry with the world most of the time, but there's no reason for her to be. She's been loving home all her life, so I don't understand it. But anyway, so there was that. So I have decided, I was a discussion with my husband actually about something completely different, about going to have some hypnotherapy, because that was one day in my pony life with Indy, when she was doing the flying bucks, when we went on to that, when we did our cross country and everything. That was just one time. Every other time I've pulled that pony out the field, loaded her up, taken her everywhere, and she's been amazing. Now, why is it that the brain always just remembers that little bad time? So I'm going to go and have some hypnotherapy, and just see whether it'll work. It's been quite interesting doing the research into it, because it is horse riding's got an awful lot to do with your mental state as well, hasn't it? So that is what I'm going to do. And as riders, you always remember the bad things and never the good things. Like you'll remember when you messed up on your times on a cross-country course, rather than getting around doing a double clear or something like that. And you have to kind of work a way around making it work for you. So I'm going to give it a go. I'll report back if there's any difference. I don't know how long it will take to sort it out, and if indeed it will work. But I just think you should be open to things and give it a go, and it's not going to cause me an issue. But anyway, yesterday, lovely kind eye, lovely little trots, weren't they? She's looking at me, ears back, it's raining. Really lovely, really nice and fun to be out on her. So it's not amazing weather today, so we will wait and see. Yesterday it was blowing a hoolie, but the rain is coming in now, so I'm going to have to go and catch her. You can put a rug on her so I can ride her, because there's no way she's going to stand in the field shelter. And she put a rain sheet on. I haven't been rugging the other two up with rain sheets because they have got their lovely field shelter to get to. But Indy in her pen is quite exposed. Also, she's not underweight, but she's not got any excess weight to lose at this time of year. And we try and keep her like that, which is quite difficult, but we're trying to keep her like that due to her laminitis issues that she had. So I have kept her a little bit, perhaps a little bit too lean by being, very restrictive. She had a muzzle on in her pen when I first moved the pen back again because the grass is so lovely and lush here. And that was on for 24/7. And then when I used to bring her up to get her ready, she would kind of dive on her hay. So we thought she was hungry. So I've been giving her some dampened hay in the morning and at night. But you have to remember, when they're in the pen, they're eating the grass down. If you look and see how much it's grown outside the pen, that's how much they're eating inside the pen. So I've been trying to sort of sort it out so I've got it the right way. So I'm not overfeeding her, but I'm not underfeeding her. She's looking at me going, I don't get enough food. You alright, Gorge? Yeah. So I'm keeping my raincoat on. Yeah, you can keep your raincoat on. I don't really want to bring her in yet. See, we stay in our summer fields until after the weekend that has all the fireworks, because we're furthest away from any kind of displays or anything like that. But because our horses are used to shooting, because there's a shoot on the land, they're not really that bothered. I mean, the guns are actually in the field, and the horses just look at them now. When we first did it, we used to move the horses each time the guns were going to come down. So they'd move them up out the way, out of the field. And it was such a palaver, especially moving Tia, who is a nightmare. Tia knocked me to the ground one year when we were doing it. Master Laura's, she couldn't believe it. Luckily I'd got a hat on when we did it because it was dark. We moved them back, and then we sat and we had a discussion and we said, you know what, they're not going to get in the way, they're not going to hurt anybody, why don't we just leave them in the field and let them get over it? It's good desensitising. And when they first do it every year, they have a little trot round and they have a little bit of a look, but they don't go anywhere near the guns. And obviously the dogs with the picker-uppers, gun dogs, are also good with the horses anyway. So it actually worked out quite well, and it has desensitised them totally from that kind of thing. So it was a good idea, and we just looked at each other and went, wonder why we didn't do that before. Don't know. But that's the kind of thing you find out. I'm now looking at my girls in the trees. So's Indy now. They found something. I kept looking at Eek's mane and wondering what she was doing, because I'd pulled it all nice and it was all the same length finally, and now she's rubbed it. Oh, it's a horrible day. Anyway, so the plans had been that we would see if I could get out on Indy and do some dressage at a couple of venues that we knew, go and do that. And the weather forecast is appalling, and as I'm still not 100%, I've got to go and have some little investigations done today, and I will go back to bed. We're not going to enter high winds and towing. I just think it's a bit of a stupid thing to do, and there's always another day for that. And I know, life is short and all the other policies that I go by, but I'm not going to endanger my horse by towing in 65-mile-an-hour winds just to see if I can compete again. So we're not going to do that this weekend. We're just going to stay at home, do a bit of homework. I'm going to go through all my summer rugs. I've packed away some of the fly rugs, washed them, packed them away. I'm going to do that now so that when we do move in November, which actually it's not that long away, is it? It's October, isn't it? So it's only a couple of weeks, and 4 weeks obviously. We don't have quite so much effort in moving everything back, because obviously Dean has to move this will be the second time that my stable block has been pulled along through the fields, and so I don't want, and it was a mammoth job last time moving it from summer out, and we were talking about it yesterday, that we moved early last year because I think, had we trashed the grass? I don't know why we moved so early last year, but we did move. And of course, then when we had all that rain, which we're just not used to in East Anglia, we're not used to all that rain. The fields flooded. Two of Laura's winter fields flooded that she uses. My winter field, these are the hay fields in the summer. We don't use them at all during the summer because it is the hay fields. They were just, they said, Laura's parents and all, they were saying that they'd never seen the water lying where it was lying on the fields. So we had an enormous amount of rain. So we don't want to get on them too early, because obviously we have to stay on them until February. We try and come off. I've been on these fields February time, first week in February. We generally come back to the winter field, the summer fields, because they've had all that rest, and they get harrowed and they get looked after by Dean. And as we've realised now, the grass is so good here that we can do it in sections and keep the horses going on fresh bits all year. So we're very, very, very lucky, and it's so nice. It's not nice in the rain though. Oh, Eek's got muddy legs. Tia's looking miserable. I might have to go and put a raincoat on Tia. I think at 27 sometimes you can be a bit... It's meant to pour down all day today, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Also, I've got my heart in my mouth over diesel because I'm now on fumes, and I can't really use my husband's car. Come to the horses because it will get filthy and his car's new. And I will obviously use it. I used it last night to come and do them, but I couldn't come all the way down the track. Because can you imagine telling your husband you've done something? Having written off one of his cars once in the winter, I gently slid at 0 miles an hour in the snow into a friend's son's car as he was drifting slowly and gently. We just looked at each other as we glided into each other and smashed. And that wrote both the cars off, which was absolutely ridiculous. That was 6 years ago? 6 years I think it must have been. But I just don't like using that's why I don't like using his car. Anyway, just going to check and see. They've both got muddy feet. Why have you got muddy feet? They've been down where it's really wet in the field, which hence why we don't use these fields all year round. Just see how warm you are. Hello, Bubba. Hello, my tea. The Tia I've arranged to have in lovely and warm. I don't really want to put a coat on you. You're lovely and warm. I'm trying to get her to grow her coat, and if I don't get her sort of, she's got to develop that coat. Eka, as you know, I clipped, not brilliantly, but she's been clipped. But she's beginning. We sent our. You shouldn't have a mark there. Oh, that's where you've been chewing each other. She's. You can't really feel her ribs at the moment. Eka's got quite a lot of weight on her at the moment. But then you see, Eke's an Arab, so Eke can survive. And Eke never stops eating, whereas Tia, like she's doing now, is got her back into the hedge, bum into the hedge, and having a little snooze, which is really nice. Whereas Tia just hasn't, Eke hasn't stopped eating. There's no stopping there. And even if I put a zero rug on her now, I've just seen how warm Eke. Gosh, listen to me. How warm Tia is, and she's lovely and warm. So if I put a rug on top of that, she's going to get overheated, and they can go into the shelter, but I do need to get Eke dry. I have got a dry rug I bought for Indy, so that when I wash her I can just put the dry rug on and it dries them out really quickly, which I like the look of, and it's a 5'6", so be a bit small for Eke, who's a 5'9", but I could use it. Oh dear. So yeah, so as I said, I booked the vet, because the vet came last week, as you know, expensive old week. So I booked the vet for Tia for the 8th of October. She is coming to be jabbed, and then our dentist Carrie Massingham, who is based in Newmarket, will be coming up to do her teeth. And what we do with Tia, because she's older and because she's always had quite difficult teeth, if you go back and look on her records that we got from World Horse Welfare, she had to have quite a lot of work done, and there were a lot, she's not lost any weight, she's not able to eat, but she has got a few wibbly wobbly teeth now at the age of 27. So what we do is we do it once a year, we sedate her, and then Carrie can do a really good job with her. Now if she needs anything more doing, or she thinks she has to do it in 2 sections, she will do that. So we get her into the stable, we sedate her, and let Carrie see what needs doing, because obviously all horses get sharp points and all sorts of things on their teeth, and they need doing regularly. You may notice your horse is chewing on a bit of wood. That's their way of trying to sort their teeth out. It's also, a lot of people say it's because they're missing something in their diet, but a lot of it's a way of them trying to get the edges off their teeth as well. So it's it's all sorts you can find out if you read all sorts of things, but then you can end up being completely confused. So rely on the experts, listen to what they say, and do what they tell you, I think. So what I'm going to do, I'm nearly finished poo picking. Blueberry's come out the car to help me, which is unusual since it's raining. She's looking at me now. Being quite a good girl, actually. I'm going to look for the bit that I need. Put the stuff in my car that I need to take back. and putting my tack room at home, and then I'm going to look at possibly moving. I've used all my hay from last year, so Laura's got another, I think, 20 or so bales, and I'm going to use that. Going to buy a couple of bales of that, so I've got some down here before we move. But as I said before, I don't want to move too many bales before we move. And it is basically, it's Indy that's eating the hay at the moment. The other two really don't need it with the grass. But if they want to come in, I leave it in the shelter so they can get some hay if they want it. And I also have it up at the top when I'm tacking up or doing anything with them, just a little net, so they can do what they want. Gosh, I'm out of breath. It's not having to get cold, isn't it? Mousy lungs is one of my friends used to call me. Anyway, I'm the happy hacker. I've got loads of ambition. I've got lots of things that I'm looking at to enter in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to up Eek's work for a bit. Up her work, because she could do losing a little bit of weight before we get into the winter, to be honest, and then lose the weight as we go through it. Get on Indy again, ride Indy, and take it from there. Anyway, I'll keep you posted. Probably a bit of a dull podcast today. I'm really sorry about that. Oh, that's the trees as I go into the pony shelter. Anyway, I am the happy hacker. Thank you for listening, and I'll keep you updated with what else I do. Thank you.